We're halfway through 2026, and in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at my portfolio. This is the portfolio that I'm building out to $100,000. I started this portfolio back on January 1st of 2024 right here on this channel, and many of you guys joined along the way. So we're just going to take a look. How much closer am I to my goal? And make sure you stick around because I did cut one of my investments at a loss a couple of weeks ago, and I'll make sure to review that with you as well. All right, so let's jump in. Let's take a look at how my entire portfolio has been performing since January 1st of 2024. So right now we're taking a look at the top left of my screen here, and I have a total account value, $14,448.67. And I have a daily P&L. So on the day, so far today, I am up $115.78, and it's 0.81%. So I'm almost up 1% on the day, which is kind of interesting, especially with the ceasefire talk being off the table. And it looks like there's going to be a little bit more conflict before we can get everyone back to the table. So I'm a little surprised that we're showing green today. So we'll be keeping an eye on that. And then I have an open P&L, $2,607.02, and my account is up 22.53%. So 22.5% increase in my portfolio since I started this over 2 years ago. And the thing that's interesting is the stock market generally averages a return between 8 to 10%. That's the accepted rate of return that most people will use when they're modeling out their portfolios in the future. So we are double where that is currently at. So 22.5%, I'm absolutely happy with that right now. And then we take a look at the total cash balance. I have a total of $270.03 in my account that is waiting to be invested. If you guys have been following this challenge, you know that I have this account set up to automatically invest every single day into the investments that I'm purchasing here on Webull. This is the first time that I've actually opened up the Webull app and looked at how my portfolio has been performing for some time. Then we'll take a look at the settled cash and the buying power. And of course, that's going to match my cash balance. And I have a total market value in my account. So if you take out the uninvested money, the $270, $14,178.64. Guys, this entire portfolio has been made up of small investments every single day into this portfolio. So this is proof that you don't have to start out with a lot of money. You can start small, and as time goes by, you can continue to add either to your position or add additional positions to your portfolio. If you haven't started investing with me as part of this $100,000 portfolio builder challenge, I'm gonna leave a link down in the description below to Webull. I like using Webull because the interface is extremely easy to follow, and they often have deals going on where if you deposit a certain amount of money into your account, then you can get some free stock. So make sure you check that out down in the description below. And then let's take a look at the individual positions. So I have 4 positions in this portfolio. We've got VTI, which covers the entire US stock market. We've got VGT, which is a aggressive growth technology-based index fund. We have SCHD, which is my dividend play. And we have VOO, which tracks the S&P 500. And as you can see, each one of these investments are green. So we'll start at the top here. VTI, which I recently started investing in at the top of the year. This is my $5 a day investment that I started in January of this year. And a lot of you guys jumped in at the beginning of the year on that. So that is up 6.88%. And then right below that, VGT, which has been a monster for me, that is up 33.66%, which is crazy. Now that is a boom or a bust investment. And right now we're seeing a lot of the boom there. And then on SCHD, up 14%. A lot of people don't like SCHD. I still like this in my portfolio because it's not as volatile as the rest of these positions in here, right? You're not gonna get a lot of movement up or a lot of movement down, just steady dividend payouts, which I really like. And then of course we've got VOO, and that's at 25.39%, which tracks the S&P 500. And that has been a powerhouse for me as well. Now we're gonna quickly take a look at the P&L screen here in my Webull app. You can see at the very top, the overview, it matches what we just went through on the previous screen. So I won't spend any time going through that. And then right below that, you see the trend analysis analysis, and that's just showing how my account has trended since I opened it in January of 2024. You see it was extremely flat there for a while. We had the pullback, and then since that time, we've continued to move up with some minor pullbacks, which is why I don't try to time the market, and I'm just investing every single day. And one really quick point on that, I'm investing every single day into this portfolio, but you don't have to do that. A lot of people that have joined in have been asking, is it more beneficial to invest every single day? The answer to that question is it depends, right? I'm doing it daily in this portfolio, but in my main brokerage accounts, I invest in those weekly. And then in my Roth 401k, I invest in that monthly. So you have to pick a cadence that works for you. You can do it based on your pay schedule. You can do it once a month. And if you're in an area where there are transaction fees with investing, maybe you do it monthly so you can limit the amount of transactions that you do for each given month. So now we're just gonna take another view here. And right here, we're looking at the trend analysis of my investment versus the S&P 500. As you can see, the S&P 500 has went off, and my portfolio kind of mimics it a little bit. Obviously, the S&P 500 has had a higher return. All right, so then we'll quickly touch on dividends here. So since January 1st of 2024, I have received a total of $166.92 in dividends. All of the investments that I have inside of this portfolio are set up with the DRIP campaign, which is the dividend reinvestment program. And what that essentially is whenever I'm paid a dividend from each one of these investments, it's automatically reinvested back into my position. Some people take the dividends, but I just reinvest them because it gives me an opportunity to buy more of my investment. So now let's talk about some of the changes that I've made to my investment portfolio since the last time that I gave you guys an update. Many of you guys that have been following this challenge know that I also invest in Bitcoin. I have that in my account on Robinhood. A couple of weeks ago, I closed that position out. Now there's gonna be some people that say, hey man, you closed that out a little prematurely. You should have stuck with it a little bit longer. Maybe that's the case, but at this point, it's not something that I want to invest in. I may jump back in it later. I don't know, but I'm going to give you the stats on that because I did take a loss on that investment. So overall, my total loss was $589.64. And it sucks to lose that money. However, I can use that as a tax harvesting loss at the end of the year. If you don't know what tax harvesting is, at the end of the year, whenever you file your taxes, the federal government allows you to write off up to $3,000 on losses that you take in the stock market. So that $589 will be used as a tax write-off whenever I file my taxes next year. And then the other change that I'm contemplating on making is now increasing the amount that I'm investing in my investment in VOO. I'm investing $5 every single day into that particular investment, and I'm considering upping that to $10 now that I'm not investing in Bitcoin. I haven't made that change yet, but that's something that I'm thinking about. And if I do make that change, I'll make sure to update you guys on a future video. All right, now let's go through some of the comments that you guys left on my last update video. Of course, I always like to go through these and read some of the comments that you guys leave for me. So very first one here, my Vanguard IRA account I started April 2024 is up 26% all time, 19% this year. Glad to hear it. And let me know, did you start investing in that portfolio based on jumping into this portfolio builder challenge? Leave a comment down below and let me know. The next question is, do they overlap heavily? The answer to that question is yes. So VTI, VGT, and VOO all have some similarities in what they invest in, but it's a little bit of a different focus. And I know that there's a lot of concentration in some of these investments, but I'm okay with that. VTI gives me that wide exposure to every single stock in the US stock market. VOO gives me the S&P 500, which is the 500 largest companies within the US. And VGT is 100% aggressive growth focused in the tech industry. And then the next comment I got here, let's VOO. Absolutely. VOO right now is my favorite position to invest in. And a lot of people will ask me, hey, what should I start with? I like the S&P 500. So if you ask me 9 out of 10 times, I'm going to say VOO or SPY. But of course, you can do your own research and invest in whatever you want. And then the last comment that I'm going to read here, I'm just doing 60% VTI, 40% VGT. There you go. You found the way to invest that works for you. You don't have to take advice from hundreds of different people on the optimal way to invest. You have to do your research, understand what works for you, and just go invest in it. All right, guys, so that is the update on my $100,000 portfolio builder challenge. I know that there are a lot of you that already have more money in your account than I do. And if you do, leave a comment down below. Let me know, because I love to see those numbers, right? This is a secondary account for me that I'm building out, and I'm gonna continue to invest in it and give you guys updates along the way. If you're investing as part of this challenge, one thing I want you to take away from this video is continue to be consistent in investing in your account, because this was an extremely slow process at the very beginning. And I'm almost at $15,000 in this account by investing small amounts every single day. And I started each one of those investments at different intervals. So just stay locked in, stay focused, and continue to build out your financial future.